Behold the Hub Mini, the pocket-sized titan that tamed your prehistoric TV and wayward AC with its infrared wrath, while its Bluetooth sorcery corralled unruly SwitchBot bots and lazy curtains. Plug it in, pair in seconds, and your devices fall in line. Then rose the Hub 2, IR overlord turned climate czar, armed with temperature and humidity sensors, customizable scene buttons, and a stubborn offline streak. It brokered peace even among matter-readied upstarts. And here stands the Hub 3, the crown jewel of your smart home dynasty, a file crown and 4 quick scene heralds, backed by sensor legions tracking temperature, humidity, light, and motion. But this is just the beginning. Join me as we unveil every feature, twist, and trick of the mighty Hub 3. Yes, this is the SwitchBot Hub lineup, and there's a new player. Yes, we'll get to that in just a second, but originally we had the Hub Mini, we had the Hub 2, and now the Hub 3. And the idea of the SwitchBot Hubs is that it's sort of, well, it's a hub, it's what other SwitchBot things connect to via Bluetooth or Matter. And then these are on the Wi-Fi, and you can then connect to these over the internet, and that's the way that you connect to them. Now, much more interesting, I think, is the features that you get in the devices, because I use Bluetooth for connecting most of SwitchBot, because you can do that now. We get to Home Assistant a bit later with Bluetooth as well and see what this does. So here's the evolution of these. You can still buy all three, they're still all valid, but now there's a choice. So the Hub Mini is, as you can see, there's no buttons on it, it doesn't do anything with a display or anything. The idea is that you connect other devices to it, and it has an infrared emitter, well, they all do. So you can connect or control your air conditioner or other things that uses an infrared remote control. You can use that with these, that's the idea. And I'll show you that in just a second as well. So as you can see, the evolution has become from this to the Hub 2, which has a display, and it has, you know, like a digital display. There's 2 buttons at the bottom, which is on and off. You can change those to do things like scenes and stuff. And now there is the Hub 3 with many buttons and things and whatnot. And the size has increased, as you can see. So that's sort of how I got the idea for the intro as well, because it is an evolution. It is, we started here, we got to there, we got to there, right? So let's get rid of these two, well, not get rid of them, but we're not going to talk about the Hub Mini and the SwitchBot 2 anymore, and we'll focus on the SwitchBot Hub 3. So the Hub 3, there's an awful lot going on here, as you can see there's a lot more than the previous model. So I just want to walk you through the hardware, and then I'll show the app of what you can actually do, and then we'll see how I use it, yeah? So this is I think it's a color display, I'm pretty sure it is, because there's a little lock icon up here because I paired it to the door the lock next door, my Lock Pro, and that changes color. But other than that, it seems to be all white, mostly. It does change color once in a while, so maybe that'll be a future update where they make more use of the colors. But you have this display here now, which is a full LED display or LCD display. It has some physical buttons here. So we have the home button, so we can go home. I'll show you how all that works in just a second. There's a back button. There is a SwitchBot button, I want to call it, and there's an on and off. The on and off also has other functions which can get a bit confusing. And then there's this dial here. So you can turn this, you can press the middle button, you can press the sides here, you can see that changes as well, and then you can go back there. So you can set all that up in the app. But also there are buttons under the display that you can't actually see. Right, so these are touch buttons. So you can see I have 4 icons here. I've paired it with 4 SwitchBot devices. The first one is my shade, my roller blind. So I can then press over here. It goes a little click, and you can see we get the roller blind here, and then we have another 4 options of how much we want to close the blind, right? And that's sort of shortcuts to using your SwitchBot devices with a physical device rather than the app. So they're sort of, yeah, if you prefer that. I can then press any of these, say the 30%, and now just in there in my office, the blind will go down to 30%, right? That's the shortcuts. You can't change these shortcuts. And one of the weird things is that the touch buttons don't line up with the display. So you can't see the buttons. So you got to sort of know that the first one's sort of over here, the second one's there, and the third one. And so if I wanted to go back and I want to say go to the lock here, I have to press over here. Right. Bit odd, but you get used to it. So that's the cottage door lock, and I can then press the on and off to lock it. That's where it's a bit odd. So if I press on, so it looks like it's unlocked now. So if I press off, there we go. It then changes the icon to lock, and I can then lock and unlock the door with the on and off. I don't know why they didn't make use of the buttons underneath for that bit, but okay, sure. So I can go back again here, and then you get back to the main display. So there's sort of lots of functions in it. The dial here, which they call the dial master, that is the idea is that if you go to an aircon unit, now I have paired my aircon with an infrared, but I can't get it up on the display. It doesn't seem, I'll show you in the app as well where you do that. But apparently if you have temperature things like aircons or sensors or whatever, you can then turn them up and down with this sort of, there's a nice tactile feel to it. I don't know if you can hear it. No, it doesn't make any sound. Where it's sort of, you can feel the sort of clicks into place, right? And that's 1 degree, for example. You can also pair it to your Android TV or your Apple TV or something, and then you can turn up and down the volume with this, which again, not sure that's super useful. Yeah. Then there's this SwitchBot button here, I call it, has the SwitchBot logo or S on it. And if you press that, you get a list of all of the devices that I have paired with the Hub 3. And you can use the dial master to turn up and down and see all of the paired devices. So example, if I go to, let's say the dinner table curtains here, I then press the middle button, and you can see it then goes to the the features that I can change here. So I could, for example, say open 30%, and then down in the house, the curtains are now moving, which is confusing. And then you can also use the on and off button to completely close them, so fully open, or off will be fully closed. So again, the on and off button has other functions, which is a little bit confusing, but I get that you want to have as many features with the buttons you got as you can, but that is a bit odd. So yeah, that's the SwitchBot button, and I think we'll see more updates to the actual firmware in it that'll take advantage of that. But it is a dial, and it's like 4 or 5 buttons. There's a middle, and then up, down, left, right here that you can use. So that's all the hardware. So oh, by the way, it also has temperature sensor, humidity sensor. It even has a motion sensor in it. Yeah, which is neat, super neat, because you can then now get that motion into Home Assistant. I'll show you that, and we can use that as well in here. So, and it has an outdoor. I don't know where it gets the outdoor weather data from, because you can't pair it to an outdoor sensor, but it's pretty accurate. Anyway, and the temperature sensor is actually in here, in that bit on the cable for the power for it. So yeah, it's powered with a cable. Yeah, all right. Now let's look at the app. If you are interested in any of the SwitchBot hubs or another SwitchBot device, check out the link down in the description. It's an affiliate link, which means that you help out the channel. And depending on when you watch the video, there might even be a little bit of a discount for, yeah, the discount code. You never know. So yeah, I'd appreciate it any way you can support my channel and all the hours I spend on doing these videos for your benefit. Well, it's fun as well for me. If you like the content, do consider subscribing, because I'm going for 50,000 subscribers this year on the channel, and I need your help. Obviously, I need your help. We're at 30,000 or just over now at time of recording, so there's a bit of work to do, but I think we can do it with your help. And there's many other ways you can support the channel. You can become a member. I create a bunch of behind the scenes content, posts and little videos and behind the scenes stuff for members only. So you can join there as well. That would be really cool. Or just leave a comment or super thanks or give it a thumbs up. Anything would be much appreciated. But that's it. Well, for now, let's get back to the video. All right, so most of the magic when you set it up obviously happens in the app. So I've got it here and you can see I have a lot of SwitchBot devices. I use them a lot. I'm a big fan of them because they seem to just work. The engineering is very good. That doesn't mean they get everything absolutely right, but overall they work really well. And now they work really well with Home Assistant, or they have for a while, but they've got even more better. So here I have the Hub 3 in the office where I am. And I've set it up really super simple as always to adopt things, and it updates to the latest firmware. And you can see I have it 17.2, which is the same as it says there, 51% humidity, etc., etc. So there's not a lot here initially because, well, it's a relatively simple device on the surface of it. But yeah, let me show you. So I have one IR appliance, an infrared appliance, that is the office air conditioner, so that's just over there. When you set that up, you just sort of point, well, you say add it, you point the remote at the infrared sensor here, that then reads that code, signal, whatever it is it gets, and it gives you some options of what it thinks it is. Usually that works really well. My air conditioner is quite old. It's probably, oh God, if I had to guess, 25 years old, something like that. It's pretty ancient for tech. So it didn't quite work with the air conditioner for me. It worked mostly. The only thing I can't do is switch it off. So yeah, I think it's just because it's so old that, you know, whatever. Having said that, the Sensibo that I set up for the air conditioner next door, which is the same one, did work, but it also took a bit of finagling to get it right. So yeah, infrared works. It's quite handy actually, because I'm going to put this just over here behind me on the kitchen bench, because it has temperature and whatever. I walk past it all the time, and it's also in range of the air conditioner. So at least I can turn it on so it gets warm here. I just got to turn it off manually now. Anyway, maybe I'll figure out how to fix that. But yeah, IR appliances, you can absolutely add them, and that could be many things. It doesn't have to be just air conditioner, but that seems like an obvious choice for me. Then we have the displayed info. So this is what is shown on the screen, right? So by default, you get the temperature and you get the humidity. You can then add weather data. This is what I said. I don't know where it gets that number from. It must be some sort of weather service, but it's damn accurate. Usually it's not very accurate for here because we're so far away. So I'm not sure. It'd be nice if I could link that to an outdoor sensor. So I have the actual weather data, because I do have outdoor sensors from SwitchBot. But anyway, that's weather data. You then have the environmental data source, which is just which value do you want to show here. So I could show the outdoor here, cottage outdoor, but then it doesn't change the weather thing at the top. It's just the main temperature thing that's changed, right? So it does that with the Meter Pro. You can actually choose which outdoor value you want to see or which data source. So maybe that'll come. And then we have the lock status. So if you do have a lock, you can pair it with it and it'll show it up here, just up the top there, and show whether that lock is open or closed. So I'm using it for next door with the Lock Pro, not the Lock Ultra, which would also work, but that's a bit further away in a different building. So it made more sense with the Lock Pro here. And then we have the customized shortcuts, which are the buttons at the bottom of the screen there, those four that don't quite line up. And you can choose whichever device you want here. So I've chosen the Office Roll Blind, Sock Nourish, which is the vacuum cleaner from SwitchBot, the dinner table curtains, and the cottage door lock. So the shortcut, of course, is to go to it like I showed you and do one of the preset things, open, close, whatever it might be. With the vacuum cleaner, it's not super useful. I think all I can do is turn it on and off, which is never correct because I wanted to clean just that room or mop and wash this room or whatever. Like, there's a lot of setup bits to it, so not as helpful as, say, opening a curtain. If I do want to change it, I'd click here on shortcut A. I can select a device or a scene, which is nice. So you can set up scenes. I haven't done that because I use Home Assistant for that, but SwitchBot allows you to set up scenes. So turn off these lights, turn on the aircon and lock the door, whatever it might be, right? That's a scene, a number of things. If I select the devices though, one of the things I would have expected to see here would be the air conditioner that I paired with infrared and then use this with the dial, but I can't get it on there. Let me just interject with a correction here. I managed to get the air conditioner onto the display. You had to go through sort of a synchronization exercise in the app, which wasn't completely obvious, I gotta admit, but it's now here as a second position. So if I now press this, see, it comes up with air conditioning controls. I can turn this up and down. See, 23, 22. So that's now where that makes sense. And you can even hear it beeping in the background. So if I go to, let's say, instead of heat, I want to have, again, I can't press on that. I got to press on this. And I can turn down to, let's say, I want auto, press that. And now it's on auto. So the air conditioner via IR does work with the Hub 3. My mistake, but I figured it out. All right, back to the video. So let me show you the settings, because there's one or two sort of interesting new features. The first one is this smart schedule. So the idea is that now this can control heating, mainly. With the knob as well, you can turn the heater, you can connect air conditioners as you saw. So there's a smart schedule, which is up here, which is a way of automatically learning about how you use the hub and temperatures, or you can also set a schedule for it. So it learns a schedule, but you can also manually set it. There's quite a lot going on here. We can choose the display mode. We can choose air conditioner, well, which heating element. We can choose the temp mode, whether it's heating or cooling. I think you can change that based on season as well. Hold is if you change the temperature, how long does that remain valid until next time block? So I'll show you the schedule in just a second. Or until you cancel it, or within, not sure what that means. And then there's temp settings as well. So you can say, okay, well, what's the margin for my temperature? When do I make sure it stays within? There's temp ranges here, so you can see, well, what is the scheduled air conditioner will only operate within the specified temperature range. You can auto learn, this is what I said, you can set it up so it's smart, so it learns about your schedule. And there's presence sensing as well, because of course this has a motion sensor in it, so you can use that to detect if there's people or not, whether you should heat or not. So that only works for a single room though, because this is only in one room, so that's a bit, okay, how useful is that? But the actual schedule is you got to go back here, back to the Hub 3, you got to press that little button up the top right, see there's like a switcheroo button, and that goes to the smart schedule screen essentially, like this is showing the temperature and whatnot. And I can then press schedule down the bottom, and then it takes you to the schedule, and you can set this up as you see fit. Now I haven't changed it really in my case. I'm not sure I'm going to use it. I might just put it on manually when I know I need to be in the office. But you can certainly set it up as an automatic thing. That's sort of the main thing. So let me just switch back here. There we go, go back to settings. That's the smart schedule. There's a lot going on there. I haven't quite got my head around it. It's a little bit complex, I think. We have some general device settings, 24-hour time, brightness, detection sensitivity, those sort of things, appearance, etc. Alert conditions. You can set up alerts for all sorts of things. Temperature alert, humidity alert, absolute humidity alert, VPD alert, which I'm not sure what it is either. And you can have some alarm sounds that comes on when, say, it gets too hot, too humid, whatever that might be. We can calibrate it. If you have a SwitchBot doorbell, you can chime. You can add it to when you press the doorbell, the chime also comes through here. There's some alarm settings. You can just use it as an alarm. And then there's do not disturb, because of course it can make noises. So when do you not want it to do that? And logs, Wi-Fi setting, third-party services, because you can connect it to all of these things. We'll look at Home Assistant in just a second. There's Home Assistant set up, there's Amazon Alexa, Google, SmartThings from Samsung, etc. All sorts of ways that you can connect this to other smart home system, which is cool. That is one of the cool features about SwitchBot as well. We have the NFC, so you can tap an NFC card on it and do a thing. Matter setup, installation guide, etc, etc. That is the SwitchBot Hub 3 app. One of the cool things about SwitchBot as a platform is that they have now fully embraced Home Assistant. Now they have for a long time, you've been able to use SwitchBot devices with Home Assistant, either through a third-party integration that someone's written, or bits and pieces of SwitchBot themselves have made it possible to use on Home Assistant, but they've now gone all in. In the last few months, pretty much every single device will work with Home Assistant, which is really cool. And there's not just Home Assistant they've embraced like Google Cloud and Matter and smart things and Alexa and all those. Like there's lots and lots of integration points with SwitchBot, which is really nice. Now I use Home Assistant, and that is exactly where I am at. Here's a bunch of temperature sensors, but that's not important right now. I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to go to all my integrations. I'm going to see all my SwitchBot devices. Now, if you're like me and you have lots of things in Home Assistant and you're constantly trying out things, you will have things that are broken all the time. Right now, my Elgato lights that are lighting my face don't actually want to go into Home Assistant properly. They're constantly going off the Wi-Fi. So I always have little things like that. But I think that's pretty common for Home Assistant or IoT things. Anyway, let's go down to SwitchBot. We have Bluetooth for SwitchBot and we have cloud for SwitchBot. So one is obviously directly connected locally through Bluetooth. And I do that with Bluetooth proxies. So if you don't know what a Bluetooth proxy is, it's going to change your life. Bluetooth is a great protocol for IoT devices, but its range is not very far. So I use Bluetooth proxies, and I created a whole video on that you can check out, which is essentially taking the Bluetooth signal, a little M5 stack, tiny little thing, and then it transmit the signal or the data over Wi-Fi to Home Assistant. So you have an extended Bluetooth network. It's really great. So that's why I have a ton of stuff on Bluetooth. And we can go in here to, we have 19 devices. So I have my blind tilts. I have a bunch of hubs. I have some outdoor sensors. I've got curtain things. There's lots of things that I use with SwitchBot. And of course I have the Office Hub 2 and 3. We're interested in Hub 3, right? So I'm going to go to the Hub 3 and you can see here, these are the sensors that I get. So I get humidity, 55%. I get lumens or illuminance. So how much light is there? So there's a light sensor in it as well, which can be useful, maybe. Maybe you close your curtains automatically based on light. I don't know. The light level, 10 level. Not entirely sure what that is, if I'm honest. There is the motion sensor. Again, here it's clear because I'm not moving out there. And then there is a temperature sensor, right? Really, really cool, really useful. And so that's through Bluetooth. And that just showed up. And I added it in. Like I didn't have to do anything special to get the Hub 3 into Home Assistant via Bluetooth. It's pretty cool. Now I also added the air conditioner via infrared, right? Via a infrared remote control. So that is now, is it showing here? No, it does not show here. I don't know why it doesn't show up on Bluetooth. Maybe because it isn't Bluetooth, but it's actually going through the hub. So if I go into SwitchBot Cloud here, this is where everything comes through the SwitchBot Cloud, the SwitchBot integration with their cloud service. Now I have a couple of air conditioners here because I was testing out how to get it to work, and it's put them in here. And you can't delete stuff from here because SwitchBot is controlling what's been deleted, or what's here. So I'm assuming they'll disappear at some point. I don't know. But I have down here, I have Office AC, which is the one that I ended up using. So if I go to that, I can now control the air conditioner through Home Assistant, through SwitchBot, which is kind of cool. So I can turn it on here, I can press the button there, and then I can go in here, I can then choose here, I can choose heat, and I can change the temperature like you would normally do on these things. So that all works. I can hear it beeping actually just out there. Beep, 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 beep. So that is really cool. I like this. I can now control the heater through Home Assistant using SwitchBot, which otherwise before I couldn't. So it's just the turning off. I have to figure that out because if I do this, there's no beep, but Home Assistant thinks it's off. So anyway, there's always uniquely little bits, but yeah, it works really well. Not much to do with Home Assistant. I just kind of added it. I said, yep, add that, and that was it. So yeah, it works. So where does that leave us? Because all three hubs are still for sale. You can still buy all three. So when should you choose each? Well, I don't know. It depends on your scenario. But for me, I like this and I don't like it. I'm in two minds. This is obvious. You need this because you need a hub and you need infrared. Done, right? This is just an upgrade to that. Hey, does the display on it? We can now show temperature and humidity. Great, right? Because the temperature sensor, as I said, is on the cable there on the back, right? Now we have this Hub 3. It's still a hub, still does everything this does, so it still connects everything via Bluetooth or Matter or however you connect it. You can still control devices over the internet through the app because of this. So that's great, it does all that. But now we also have, well, we have the motion sensor. I like that. I like motion sensors because it allows me to turn on lights and turn them off again, those sort of things. But now we have all this hardware, all these physical buttons, and there's a lot, right? It's almost like, I love the upgraded hardware, and it feels more sturdy and better built than this. This feels a little bit flimsy. It's very light. It seems to sort of move around. This seems better build quality, but it's much bigger. And now it seems to try and do everything. And I don't know if I want it to. To me, IoT devices are supposed to be simple, do a thing, and I decide the connection through Home Assistant, for example, how they should work. But it is a hub. It is meant to collect everything into it and provide a hub experience, something that everything connects to. Yeah, I'm not sure. All of the buttons, some of it is a bit odd, like the on and off for other things. I understand why, but they shouldn't be called on and off then, not sure. It does have these odd touch buttons that don't line up with the display, but they're handy because you can now do more things. And then there's the tactile physical buttons here that lets you go home and back, and that's great as well. And then you have this dial master, as it's called, which sort of seems a little bit over engineering. I don't know. It's sort of the feature of the thing. It stands out. It's in the middle, and it's being promoted by a SwitchBot, but I'm not sure I need it. That's sort of where I'm at. But let me know what you think. Like, where are you at? It seems like a natural progression. I just don't know if I'd rather have just that with this build quality and maybe the touch screen or something. I'm not sure. It's not a touch screen, by the way. It just has those 4 buttons underneath. So I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Put them down in the comments. I'd love to know your opinion on this. Have you got a Hub 3? Have you got a Hub 2? Are you planning to upgrade, or whatever it might be the case? Or if I've got questions, have you got questions on something I might have missed? Put them down in the comments as well. So if you like this content, please consider subscribing, because we are going for 50,000 subscribers this year on the channel, but I need your help, and I'd really appreciate it. And it's a good community. We share lots of information here. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.